So, hello there, everybody. I'm joined by the world's fastest hypnotist, the one and only Mr. Sean Michael Andrews. Yay! Welcome, Sean.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for calling me.
So, Sean is very well known and much loved within the field. He's taught hundreds of hypnotists in 17 countries, and he's been around for many years. And I think he needs no further introduction from me today. And he's coming back to the UK Hypnosis Convention. I'm thrilled, and all the team here are. On Thursday, the 7th of November, Sean's going to be running a one-day pre-convention workshop, instant and rapid inductions for therapists. In the write-up that you sent through to us that's on the website, Sean, you mentioned that one of your kind of former frustrations in the earlier stages of your career was that you felt you couldn't get every client into hypnosis, and that sometimes they weren't very deep, and some of them even opened their eyes at the end of the session and said that they didn't know if they were really hypnotized. But you remedied that. Tell me what you did, how you went about things.
Okay, yeah, well, that's the real fear of most brand new hypnotists, isn't it? That we can't get somebody into hypnosis. And I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a talk therapist, and I'm not qualified to do that sort of work. In my work, I hypnotize people, and I give them suggestions that will be good for them and help them get the changes that they want to make in their life. Yeah. And that works pretty nicely. But it all hinges on getting that person into hypnosis, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and that's the fear, because for the new hypnotist, you wonder, and this is funny because you mentioned that, yes, I've taught in 17 countries, and one of the things I've noticed in every one of those countries is a significant percentage of the hypnotist or hypnotherapists are not absolutely confident in their ability to put people into hypnosis. And there are many reasons for that, but that person sits down in their chair and they are thinking, oh my gosh, I sure hope this works. And that's terrible. I mean, you would not go to a dentist if he was thinking, yeah, I just can't remember how to drill these teeth. And,
yeah.
And this Novocaine, I'm not sure exactly how much to use it. You wouldn't do that. But with hypnotists, that's what the situation is. With a significant percentage of us are not that confident in our ability to get them into hypnosis. Okay, so that was the one thing that bothered me. The other thing was I wanted to get a nice deep trance. Now, I later learned, and you're fully aware of this, that there really doesn't seem to be a correlation between depth of trance and the change that the client makes. I learned this in my weight loss sessions, and I had some clients that went super deep, but they didn't lose very much weight. And I had others that I knew darn well were just in a light state of hypnosis, and they lost all the weight. So, right. But that's another matter. Yeah. What I think is I like to get as much depth, whether it's in the therapy room or giving a demonstration or something. I want as much depth as I can get, because that opens up all kinds of other possibilities for me. So the other thing, my other frustration, and I know all right, for anyone watching this, I bet you've never heard this. You've done a good session, you finished, you emerged them from hypnosis, and the person says, I'm not real sure I got hypnotized. You've never heard that, right?
No, and I have heard lots of other people have had that experience.
Yeah, exactly. Other people, not us. So anyway, that hurt me, when they said that, because I knew darn well that they were in hypnosis, but they weren't sure. So I came up with a test that I do for all my clients, just to ensure that they know they're hypnotized. Because as we know, if the client doesn't think she was hypnotized, then the next thought that pops into her head is going to be, so probably all that stuff that guy told me isn't going to work. So that's not good. So it really helps our therapy to stick if the client knows that he or she is hypnotized. So I test them all. And the tests, I give them 3 tests, and they follow the Aaron scale pretty much. And yeah. Aaron's level 1 for depth of trance, which is a light level of trance, is demonstrated often by catalepsy of a small group of muscles, and in this case, the eyes. So what I do is I seal the client's eyes shut, and then I tell her that 90% or 80% of my clients are women, so I'll just use she. So I seal her eyes shut and then challenge her to open them. And I'm a little sneaky. I put a little double bind in there. The harder you try to open them, more they stick. And they're trying to get their eyes open. Of course, they can't do it.
Yeah.
And so that's one. And then I test for Aaron's 2, which is usually demonstrated by catalepsy of a group of larger muscles, in this case, the arm. And so I'll say I'm going to take her arm by the wrist. I'm going to hold it out in front of her. I want her to make it straight and stiff and rigid as a steel bar. And then I challenge her to bend her arm. And of course she can't because she's in a pretty deep trance. Now, and then the third test that I use, instead of going for, most people test for Aaron's 3, which is a medium level trance, as getting aphasia. You know, for instance, take away the person's name and they know it, but they just can't get it out. What I do is I stick them to the arm of the chair, stick their hand to the arm of the chair, or if it's a folding chair, I'll stick their hand to the frame of the chair and challenge them to pull it off. And then when they've done that, I'll say, so do you think you're hypnotized? And of course they'll say, yeah, I think something funny is happening here. Yeah, I think I'm in an altered state. And so now you've proven to them that they're hypnotized, and you've really helped to make your therapy work. And I've done this with, well, every client. The first time they come and see me, every client gets the same treatment and every client passes. Why? Well, I always do it at the end of the session. So they've been hypnotized for half an hour or 45 minutes by the time I do the test. So that's the deepest they're ever going to be during that session. So I know this will work, and it always does work.
Right.
But then I was experimenting. I know you like to do experiments, Adam. I was experimenting to see what would happen if I put the test in the beginning of the session. So I did my induction and I did my deepening, and then I locked their eyes shut, locked their arms so they couldn't bend it, and stuck them to the chair. And of course they passed that too. But at the end of the session, a couple of them said to me, well, yeah, I did, but I felt like I could have bent my arm and I'm still not sure I was hypnotized. And I thought, this doesn't make sense to me. It works so well the other way. And so then I moved the test back to the end of the session, and they stopped telling me that they thought they hadn't been hypnotized. And my theory on this, although I don't know how to prove it, my theory on this is that it has to do with recency of memory. You know, since it was such a recent thing that happened to them that they were stuck to the chair, it made impression on them when they come out of hypnosis. So that's what I do, and I don't hear that phrase anymore.
Yeah. I love the experimentation. I love the kind of dealing with and working with feedback over the years. You know, these are favorite topics of mine. I know from my own work, I'm guessing you encounter it a bit as well, that, you know, some professionals are taught perhaps, you know, one single and maybe a kind of lengthier induction process, and sometimes even a little bit more sort of somber one, and may not feel confident or assured in doing stuff that is instant or rapid processes that you teach. That kind of confidence, that's something that you help with, don't you?
Oh yeah, and what we do, and I've changed the way I've taught this I've been teaching this for about 15 years now, and I've changed the way I teach it now so that there's a lot more practice during the session, because I found that the students enjoy it more when they're actually using what you teach them. And so lots of practice, and that's really the best way to gain confidence in these things. The other thing is to just learn the inductions well and safely. I'm a huge safety advocate. I've never hurt anyone, and I'm never going to, because I'm always extra careful to make sure that the inductions are going to be done safely. But there are some clients that are just difficult to hypnotize. That's the way it is. And some of them are just caught up in their own thoughts. And for those people, often the best induction to use is an instant induction, a shock induction. And when you use that, then, and also I teach in the class how to, if you're doing your slow induction and it just doesn't seem to be working, Now, in my mind, a slow induction is one that lasts about 3 minutes, but you're doing your slow induction, it doesn't seem to be working. Then you can seamlessly move into an instant induction, and the client is none the wiser. She just thinks that that's the way hypnosis works. And so that way you can easily get the job done, because often an instant induction is the only way you're going to get a person past their thoughts and into hypnosis. So, and then the other thing, okay, the other issue with using these, or the other advantage to using these faster inductions, is they're perfect if you want to actually make a living as a hypnotist, because it's difficult. I mean, there are some great hypnotists out there that are failing miserably because they don't have clients. And if you want to get clients, in my experience, the best way to do that is to give demonstrations. And if you want to give demonstrations that wow the crowd and get people, you know, very eager to come in and do hypnotherapy with you, you have to do the instant inductions. And then, of course, there's a thought, well, yeah, I know, but what if I do that and it fails? Well, right now, I currently believe that it is impossible for you to fail. I mean, that used to scare the dickens out of me, that I fail, and I guess it would scare anybody, the idea that they might fail. So then I started experimenting, and particularly for the 4 years when I was in Germany, I started experimenting with hypnotizability and what makes people more hypnotizable than others. And I found a lot of information just in my experiments. You know, you can pick these people out. And then also I've developed some kind of sneaky tricks so that I can easily identify these highly hypnotizable people. They don't know what I'm doing, and they just think, wow, he never picks a bad person. He always picks a good person. And well, yeah, because I trick them into identifying themselves as good people. And then they come up, and of course they go into hypnosis, and I never fail. I know somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you. I've seen you up close and in action. You know, when you were based in Germany for that time, and you came over to Bournemouth, and you know everybody there just smiled nonstop for 2 hours while you were presenting and lecturing. And you know, I mean, I was watching your videos. You know, in the early stages of my career, which is, you know, like 20 years ago, and watching you at fairs and at public events and stuff. Just, you know, doing this fast, sharp stuff, and it never fails to amaze me seeing how fluent and effective you do that. So full details of the workshop are over at the UK Hypnosis Convention website. But also on the Friday of the convention, Sean's going to be presenting about the Dave Elman induction, both in one-to-one in therapy environment or with a group as well. And the subheading of this particular presentation is the most effective hypnotic induction. And I remember reading this the first time we got Sean's submission, and thinking, you know, that's some statement. I love this. I love this the boldness of it. Sean, share with us a little bit about why you feel so strongly about it.
Well, I think it's an induction for all seasons. It can be used on a stage. It can be used in demonstrations. It can be used to tell as a relaxation exercise to identify highly hypnotizable people. It can be, it's a nice gentle induction. It can be used in therapy. I mean, some people think that I do instant inductions all the time in my therapy room, and I do not. I use the Dave Elman induction. I only pull out the instant inductions with the maybe 2 or 3% of people who don't go in with the Dave Elman induction. So I find it to be very effective. And I've been fortunate to be friends with Dave Elman's son, Colonel Larry Elman. And in our years of friendship, I've learned some things about the Dave Elman induction that make it even more effective. And so, and then that and just practicing it is so many thousands of times, you get pretty good at it. It really seems to me like it's the best all-around induction. It's super fast. I mean, 3 minutes, and you've got a nice workable level of trance where you can do your hypnotherapy. Now there are other inductions. I used to be militant about how these long progressive muscle relaxation inductions were just awful, and they're not. They're wonderful inductions, and they're gentle and they work. And the only disadvantage to that, and you get very deep trance because
and they serve a purpose under certain circumstances, right?
Sorry,
I was just saying that they serve a purpose under certain circumstances.
Yeah, and in the 17 countries I've visited, I found that most hypnotists use progressive muscle relaxation inductions. And that's fine because it is basically a bunch of deepeners. That's what it is. And so, I mean, my friends that use it said, well, why are you teaching how to deepen the trance? You don't get deep trance? Well, you can get deep trance with progressive muscle relaxation. It just takes a little while, and I'm very impatient. So the Dave Elman induction takes 3 minutes, and boom, you're ready to do your therapy. So that's why I like it. I think it's the most flexible induction, and yeah. So
and you've made a point. You've made a point of stating that you know it's also, you know, it can be a go-to as far as group sessions are concerned. You know, because you know a group is very much a different creature. What makes it so good for using in a group session?
Well, I mean, some people might not know that the Dave Elman induction actually started out as a group induction. That's how it was.
I did not know that. I learned something today.
It was born as a group induction that Elman used when he was doing his hypnosis shows, comedy hypnosis shows in vaudeville, and then he adapted it to become a therapy induction. So yeah, it's perfect. You just do a couple of small tweaks to it, and it's either on the stage or it's in the therapy room. And so but in a group I don't do a lot of shows, but I do at least several shows a year. And this is my induction. This is what I use, and it works it works as well now as it did during the early 1900s when Elman invented it.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a great presentation. You know, the nuance, the experience that you have with Larry, and you know your years of experience. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about welcoming you once again. You know, for all the people that are watching, that are tuning in here. You know, I think everybody needs a bit of a Sean Michael Andrews experience if they're going to have a good hypnosis career and skill set. You know, I think you need to get that under your belt. You know, you can book tickets to Sean's workshop, and you know, as well as coming and seeing him present on the Friday of the convention, visit the UK Hypnosis Convention website, ukhypnosisconvention.co.uk. Sean's been incredibly generous already. I'm just kind of reining him in because I want him to tell all the good stuff on the day. You know, Sean and I had dinner once, and he said something lovely to me that he may not even remember, but he said to me, "I keep no secrets, Adam." Do you remember saying that? You know, you said, "I keep no secrets," and I love this. You know, you're just so generous in the way in which you give and teach and train, and you know, it really comes across when you are teaching and training as well as in person, and I always really appreciate that about you.
Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate it, but I mean, I just try to operate in the same manner that the fellows who taught me did, fellows and a couple of gals too. They were always very good about sharing with me, and just as a tribute to my teachers, that's what I want to do. I won't keep secrets. If I know something, boy, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. I love that. Come see Sean. Come tune in with him. Come and track him down. Come and find him in a corner, because, like I said, he is generous. You know, go and small talk with him and ask him some deep questions as well. UK Hypnosis.
Not too deep. I'm not that kind of guy. If you want deep questions, you ask Adam. But if you just
yeah, right. yeah. I'm trying to encourage people not to do that at the convention this year. Okay, great. Sean, thank you very much. I can't wait to see you again in November. Best wishes.
Yes, take care. Thank you, Adam.